Right. Welcome, and I'd like to call to order the May 8th of 2023 Board of Education meeting for Bloom Carroll Schools. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Abbott?
Present. Mr.
Bratton?
Present.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Present.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Present.
Mrs. Sherman?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we'll do the approval of the agenda, we'll go through the changes. So, let's see. So 9BC, we got it this time. 9BC, the dates for the middle school combine are the 19th and then the 20th.
It's on page 3.
Yeah. So 9BC. Next one's on the next page. C2. Instead of step 20, it should say 22. And then page 7. 20. C. It should also say 22 instead of 20. And that goes right there at the bottom. So 20C. And then the next page. So page 8. 22F should be experience 1, not 0. And then we have the addendum for 9C at the bottom there for 25 through 28. They'll be added right there at the bottom of the page. And you have that addendum. Addendum's gonna be at the bottom of page 8 after 24. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. So 25 through 28 will go in there. Good?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Motion made by Jimmy Johnson, seconded by Rod Johnson. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes. Number 5, approve the minutes from the April 17th, 2023 regular meeting. Did anybody see anything, any questions or anything? Good. All right, I'll make this motion.
Second.
Motion made by Jim Sherman, seconded by Matt Bratton. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
All right, number 6, public participation. A citizen grants permission to address the board shall speak no longer than 3 minutes at one time, except by consent of the majority of the board members present. Maximum of 30 minutes of public participation may be permitted at each meeting. The Bloom Carroll Board of Education policy requires that individual names not be used as part of a complaint or concern being stated to the board during the public participation part of the agenda. The board rests in its president the authority to terminate any remarks which may be defamatory, abusive, or otherwise cause undue interruption or interference with the orderly conduct of business. We have food service update and also Mr. Green.
Yeah, Marilyn Enyer, our food service director, is here. And Marilyn, it's all yours.
Just want to start with the great food service staff. Everybody loves their kids and they do what they can to make them happy, and they love what they do. We have a new point of sale system this year that was really nice, but we're still working through it. It doesn't give us enough information, but it's a lot to work with. We don't get the report we need with it, but we're working through it. It's challenging. Our lunch counts are higher than expected, coming right off of everybody being free.
Right.
But they're still, they're higher than they were before COVID when everybody was free, so I was excited about that. Our breakfast we've served so far this year, 39,000, over 39,000, out of stock 253 average a day. And lunches we've sold 260 maybe 200 breakfasts and about 1,100. So it's up a little bit, about 10%. So, I have my free and reduced, we have about 14% free, 2% reduced, which is very low for us. Our charge is about 5,700, so we need those people to get their applications filled out. Since it's not free anymore, people think it was still free at the beginning of the year, so it's still hung on to the beginning of the year. Next year I'll have a couple positions, I have 2 people resigning, I'll have one in the preschool, one in the middle school to fill. I have some subs that are they've been doing great. To show appreciation for our cooks this year, I got some white aprons, and I had all of our art departments decorate them, all the students in them, and they just absolutely loved them. The staff was super excited about them, and they felt very appreciated. And I also got them T-shirts that said, "I never dreamed I'd be a super cool lunch lady, but here I am killing it," and they absolutely love those too. So, yeah, that was all I have. Any questions?
What did you say, you said 14% on one free, what was the reduced? 2%,
yeah.
You said that's,
It was about 17.
and so do you think people have to put their applications in that would be that way?
Yeah.
Would probably be
but
consideration.
Yeah, we have a lot that like applied very late, or new students that thought it was carried over from their last school, and they don't understand that it's not, and then they just wait until they can't buy anymore.
Marilyn, what were the numbers on breakfast again? I missed that part.
Breakfast, we average a day, you mean?
The total and then the daily average.
39,000, about 250 a day.
With the food prices going up, how's that looking towards the daily charge?
It's challenging because they are going up quite a bit. And I did go through this morning, and everything was out for this week for some reason. I've had all year, it's been great, except right now I couldn't get any hamburgers, so I had to spend a lot more on hamburgers for next week. So it just depends on whether stuff is in stock or not.
Our main provider is GFS, right? Yeah. And then so when they don't have that, where do you go?
I still go there, I just have to find a more expensive one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So GFS, they were just out of hamburger?
For our commodity ones, yes, I couldn't get any, so I had to pay like probably twice as much.
She was low.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they work out and everything's okay, maybe I'll stick with something a little bit nicer, but I try to stick with commodity.
Yeah, sure.
But that's what we do.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
All right, Mr. Green?
I got a quick question. Bathroom policy in the school. I think I might have asked this before, but I would like to know, do we allow opposite boys and girls bathrooms, girls and boys bathrooms? Biological boys into girls bathrooms?
We have been able to work, fortunately, with our students to use a gender-neutral restroom where that has been an issue. What I mean by that is it's a private restroom, one at a time.
So that's the policy of the school?
Well, we have to make sure we're in compliance with federal Office of Civil Rights guidelines, but we have been able to, some of the issues you see, you maybe read about or hear about.
Well, here in Bloom Carroll, I know for sure that boys are using the girls' bathroom. If they're not supposed to, even if they're confused or perverted, they still shouldn't be in the girls. In my eyes, they shouldn't be in the girls' bathroom. Boys, no matter what your problem, they shouldn't be in the girls' bathroom. But if the school's policy is that those individuals use a different bathroom from the family one, I just want to know. And we need to let the teachers and staff know that they need to make sure this happens. My son was here for the school dance, and boys were using the girls' bathroom. And an event like that, where it's already kind of crazy, you know, we don't want something crazy to happen. You know, middle school dance is probably crazy. I would not chaperone it myself. but, we would not want something that, like what happened in Virginia a couple of years ago, happened here in Bloom Carroll. So I was just kind of trying to figure out, is the policy where if you're confused on what gender you are, you use like the family bathroom? Is that what the school policy is, or is that kind of?
There is not first of all, we have to comply with the Office of Civil Rights and their guidelines. We do not have, to the best of my knowledge, I have never seen it, nor have I written it, a policy to address which gender uses which restrooms. When we've had those issues, and I am not aware of anything that you're referring to at the school dance, but I know when I was building principal and working with our administration, when those issues have come up, we've worked with the families and the student to offer a individual private restroom for people to use.
I really think we should work on a policy for that, because there's a very big difference between an 8th grade boy and a 6-year-old 6th grade girl. And if someone just wants to take advantage of someone and pretend that there's nothing stopping, big difference between a senior boy and a freshman girl. I really think the staff and the teachers need to get on board to do something, because I would not want us to end up like what happened in Virginia a couple of years ago. And if my son sees it, that means it's happening more than once or twice on one day. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and we need to solve that problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott, appreciate it. Okay, that was it for that. Number 7, treasurer's recommendations and reports.
Okay, thank you. Item A is approve the April financial statements for a total expense of $11,571,688.96, including just over $8.9 million in consortium expenses. Page 21, as we wrap up April financially, we do have our 4th income tax collection that occurs in April, which finalizes it for fiscal year 23. You can see there with the healthy increase of the total collections being just over 15% higher than the same collections last year. Of that, current withholding is up 8%, which again is a truer picture of the economic growth and the financial health of the school district. On the green report, which is a key report when we compare actuals to estimates, I just wanted to bring your attention that we updated the estimates in that report so that it matches the forecast that you'll see tonight. So if you saw it in March and February and said, well, we were way ahead of that, that's because we've updated it now. So the base that you have to compare that report to in the actuals is now the amounts in the forecast. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention so you knew that was the case, differences from past months. Current carryover, you can see just over $9.3 million. That'll drop as we go through the last 2 months of the fiscal year because all of our taxes have been collected for the year. Any questions on the April financial statements or the checks written during the month?
Make a motion. Second.
Rob, is it you?
Yep.
Motion made by Rod Johnson, second by Matt Bratton. Roll call, please.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Item B, approve an updated 5-year forecast and the notes for fiscal years 23 through 27 and submit to the Ohio Department of Education. I went through this in pretty good detail with the Financial Committee. We had a meeting prior to this meeting. Just from a highlight perspective, page 40 of the packet is a nice summary that I like to include in all these forecasts and post to the website once they're approved. It just literally gives a snapshot of beginning balance, total forecasted revenues, total forecasted expenditures, and cash balance. It's as simplified as it can get from a financial statement perspective. And you can see there that revenue surplus or deficit is always the key. It doesn't matter what your carryover is. If that number is red, it's just going to be a matter of time before the carryover dissipates. So again, no secret with the property and the income tax is the only real difference, quite frankly, and I'll show you on another comparison here. The only difference from this and the November forecast, it's a substantial difference, but we've talked about it all year. So you kind of see what our carryover estimate's going to be. Pretty comfortable with the numbers, obviously the rest of this year. Going into the next 2 fiscal years, the state budget is still ongoing. through the Senate. I have some of the things that have been approved at the preliminary level. Some of these things are included and some of them are not, just to try to not be too conservative, but not also go too far, because we don't have the final version of the budget bill yet that's been passed. So obviously, I'll keep the board abreast of that and update the numbers for fiscal 24 and 25, as we get more concrete and approved budget bill. The next pages are just the notes and assumptions. If you see changes, substantial changes in a line item, they're described throughout the notes. Page 55, from an accountability standpoint, again, what's different? So we're not just throwing numbers out here. What's different from the November forecast and this forecast? And you can see really the real estate and income tax, that's it. That's what's led to the carryover increase that we're looking at the end of the year. So again, went over it in greater detail with the Finance Committee, and certainly if something comes, you have questions, once you dig a little deeper into it, we can always look at it at future meetings if you would like to. But any questions on the forecast for the 5 years as presented?
I couldn't hear. Matt. Motion made by Matt Bratton, seconded by Rod Johnson. Can we roll call, please?
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Item C is approve the classified pay index, which will take effect if approved July 1st, 23. You have that there's 3 separate schedules. Again, I also went through this in great detail with the Finance Committee, some of the reasoning. The increase proposed there has listed, it's within what's in the forecast. Obviously, we do not have a teacher salary schedule yet for next year, but we felt comfortable with this increase, giving us some cost certainty, allowing us to get contracts and salary notices out in a timely fashion for these individuals who within each of these categories, which really do deserve the raise we believe has presented.
This is what we went over at the planning session, right?
Yes, yeah. 56 through 58, they're, like I said, three different schedules, all with the same increase included.
Okay, I'll make this motion. Second. Motion made by Jen Sherman, seconded by Jimmy Johnson. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
And Mr. Rod Johnson. And along those same lines, item D is to approve the administrative salary index, which would take effect August for these individuals. Basically repeat what I just went through with the classified index. All of the same principles there apply to this index as well. There is an adjustment to the, we talked about this too with the activity director, the days. But other than that, everything else is consistent with the increases has presented.
Can I get a motion? Motion made by Jimmy Johnson, seconded by Matt Bratton. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
And finally, requesting board approval to approve the following fund-to-fund transfer. Our semi-annual transfer from the general fund to our energy conservation loan debt relief fund.
I'll make this motion.
Second.
Motion made by Jen Sherman, seconded by Joe Abbott. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
And Mr. Rod Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 8, old business. A, approve the following policies for a second reading, as listed 1 through 9. Any questions on any of those? We went over it last time. Motion made by Joe Abbott, seconded by Rod Johnson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Oh,
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes. Number 9, superintendent's recommendations and reports.
All right. Just a couple things. Wanted to start off with in my report. Obviously, this is Teacher Staff Appreciation Week. Just wanted to acknowledge our all of our teachers and our support staff for all the work they do. So just a big thank you to them. There's some nice things going on with the building administration and each department supervisor to recognize their efforts and just let them know that we appreciate what they do for our students and for our community. So congratulations and thank you to all of them. Also, I wanted to point out here on the record that we have, in just a few minutes, I'll get to our personnel section, but I wanted to introduce Mr. Larry Hergis, who will be recommended to be our new athletic director and activities director. His wife is with him, Kelly Hergis, and their son Nolan. They have one other son, Alex, who's a little bit older, I believe, right, in his mid-20s maybe. But Larry, his background, we're really excited about it. There were a lot of applicants, some not so good, and some really good, and some great. And I think we got the great applicant. I think we got the best applicant. And there was a large committee at the high school and middle school that were involved in student input. But Larry has over 22 years of experience as an athletic director in 3 districts. He's coming to us from Taylor Middle School and High School, which is part of the Three Rivers School District in Cleves, Ohio, which is west of Cincinnati. And Larry has a neat background. He has a master's degree in curriculum and instruction. He has an undergraduate in communications and a minor in history in broadcasting. And he started off, he's from Miller, Ohio, down in the Perry County area. And he started off doing some sports broadcasting for high school sports and featuring athletes. And he also worked for Children's Services in Athens County for several years and was the public information director for the prosecutor's office and the director of, he worked for the Victims Assistance Program with the Athens County Prosecutor's Office. So Larry has a neat background. He has been the Ohio Athletic Director of the Year. He's been his District Athletic Director of the Year. It's really neat that he's been able to do some things and really improve programming and services and facilities. He's an very engaging athletic director. He served on the OASSA safety compliance team or safety committee team just a couple years ago. And Larry really has a background in what we're looking for, and I think he's going to do a great job and brings a ton of experience and very knowledgeable about Ohio high school bylaws and policies, and we're just really excited. So I wanted to point Larry out to you tonight. And Larry, I'll kind of give you some of my time if you want to say something right now, if you'd like.
I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity. I'm excited about being here at Bloom Carroll. As stated, I've been an athletic director for 22 years. Before I went to Cincinnati, I was at Amanda Clear Creek for 4 years, and then down at Alexander High School for 6 years. So that's been my scope as far as being an athletic director. And as mentioned, everything I've done has been involving kids. Good kids, bad kids, kids that need help, need assistance. I love working with students. I have the best job in the world. I get to walk into a school every day, and there's nothing compares to it. And I hope that I can quickly establish relationships with our coaches, with our students. Every decision I make is going to be in the best interest of the student athletes here. You may agree or disagree, but I know I can go to bed at night knowing I've made the best decisions for the kids, and that's the most important thing. Kids are here to be educated. The extracurricular activities are awesome. Coaches spend more time with kids than their parents do. And I can say that for a fact because my kids went to the same school that I was the athletic director, and the coaches spent more time than I did, and I was there a lot. So I'm excited. I know my family's excited. There'll be some transitioning for us in regards to how we're going to make it work, but we've done it before. When we first moved to Cincinnati, Kelly stayed back for a year. I had the boys. Looks like this first year I'm going to be away. She's going to have the boys close to her. So, but I am excited. I'm very honored to have this opportunity to serve you and to serve our community. And I have an open door policy. I want people to come and talk to me. I believe our kids should come in and say, hey, Mr. Hergis, I think maybe you could have done it this way, because I believe it's their program. I just happen to be the guy with the title of athletic director. And my goal is to make things better each and every day than what they had the previous day. So again, I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks for being here tonight. Welcome to the Bulldog family. We're excited.
Other things going on. It's the end of the year. It's a crazy time. We've got, a couple weeks here before things wrap up, but just coming up, just things to kind of put on your radar. May 12th, we have Ag Day for our students, our high school students in the FFA program lead that. On the 9th and the 12th, tomorrow and later this week on Friday, we're hosting the Mid-State League track meet. We have prom on Saturday at TCB Farms, down south of here just a little bit. May 17th through the 20th, we have the 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. May 18th, we have the middle school and high school art show coming up here in the middle school cafeteria. We have
What day did you say that was?
May 18th, it's a Thursday. Yeah. May 26th, we have field day at the elementary school. I think that's a Friday. We have graduation on Friday at 7 p.m. May 26th. Please make sure you respond to Mr. McNamara, the senior class advisor, if you plan to attend that. June 1st is our last student day. We have a 2-hour early release that day, and then our staff breakfast and awards, where we honor our building teachers of the year, district teacher of the year, support staff of the year, and our retirees as well. So that'll take place. Breakfast will be at 8 a.m. on June 2nd, and then we'll start the awards about 8:45. It's here in the middle school, and any of you are obviously welcome to attend if you would like. So, any questions about any updates? All right, let's move on then to 9B. Number 1, approve a summer intervention program at the middle school for grades 6, 7, and 8 for academically at-risk students to be held June 5th through 16th, 2023 from 9 to 11:30 in the morning. Number 2, approve a summer intervention program for students identified at risk at the elementary school to focus on 3rd grade reading and math to be held June 5th, 2023 through July 13th, 2023 from 9 to 11. Number 3, approve the following handbooks at the athletic handbook for the middle school and the athletic handbook for the high school for next year. Number 4, approve the following summer camps and closures for 2023, which include overnight trips as indicated in bold print. Teams will be accompanied by their respective coaches and parent chaperones for overnight trips, pending mandated background checks for volunteers. And all of our camps as presented on the agenda A through J. Those are mine. And just, again, the correction on C, the middle school combine is June 19th, and the middle school combine is also on June 20th for 8th grade. That's, there was a correction there.
Motion made by Joe Abbott, seconded by Rod Johnson. Can we do that? Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Okay, under 9C, personnel and employment, number 1, approve the substitute list number 10 for May of 2023 as submitted by the Fairfield County Educational Service Center. Number 2, approve the employment of Larry Hergis as athletic activities director on a 2-year administrative contract at 240 days per year at step 22, pending timely receipt of verifications and background checks, and effective August 1st, 2023. Number 3, approve 10 extended days for Larry Hergis, Athletic Activities Director, effective July 17th, 2023 through July 28th, 2023, at the administrator daily rate, pending acceptance of agenda item 9C2. Number 4, approve the employment of Megan Robinson as a high school Spanish teacher on an initial sequence 1-year limited contract at step 1 with a bachelor's degree, pending timely receipt of verifications and background checks, and effective with the 23-24 school year, and that is to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Keith Wentz. Number 5, approve the following summer school intervention program instructors at the tutor hourly rate for Amber Harris, Nicole Smith, Emily Bogart, and Carrie Kern. Number 6, approve the following requests for an unpaid leave or dock days for Shawnee Corwin as a middle school cook on April 14th, 2023, and for Mr. William Moore, high school lunchroom monitor, May 30th through 31st and June 1st, 2023. Number 7, approve the following home instructors for the 22-23 school year at the tutor hourly rate for Rachel Gruber, Jennifer Harrison, and Jessica Stewart's. Number 8, approve the following request for FMLA leave of absence for Laura Barrett, beginning May 3rd, 2023, for up to 60 days. Number 9, approve the following classified substitute for the 23-24 school year pending receipt of verifications and background checks for Brenda Weber as a cook, lunchroom monitor, aide, and custodian. Number 10, approve the employment of the following certificated employees on a 1-year initial sequence limited contract for the 23-24 school year. And as, again, the second 1-year contracts, Section A, 1 through 11 as presented. Under Section B, the third 1-year contract as presented 1 through 6 from the agenda. And C, the fourth 1-year contract as presented, numbers 1 and 2 from the agenda. Number 11, approve the employment of the following certificated employees on an extended sequence limited contract beginning with the 23-24 school year. And Section A, those would be the 2-year contracts as presented 1 through 6. Section B would be our 5-year contracts as presented 1 through 19, going on to the next page.
All right, any questions?
I'll make the motion. Second.
Motion made by Jimmy Johnson, seconded by Matt Bratton. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
All right, number 12, approve the employment of the following certificated employee on an extended sequence limited contract beginning with the 23-24 school year. Section A, a 5-year contract, and that is for number 1, Jamie Johnson.
I'll make the motion. I'll second. Motion made by Joe Abbott, seconded by Jen Sherman. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Abstain.
Number 13, approve the employment of the following certificated employee on a continuing contract in accordance with the negotiated agreement and the Ohio Revised Code requirements, beginning with the 23-24 school year for Denise Bloom. Number 14, approve the employment of the following previously retired classified employees on the first 2-year limited contract for the 23-24 school year for Laura Barrett as a lunchroom monitor. Number 15, approve the employment of the following previously retired classified employees on the third 2-year limited contract for the 23-24 school year for Laura Barrett as a bus driver. Number 16, approve the employment of the following classified employees on a 1-year limited contract beginning with the 23-24 school year, and that would be for Brent Lambert, our resource officer at the elementary school. Number 17, approve the employment of the following classified employees on a 2-year limited contract beginning with the 23-24 school year. Section A, those are the first 2 years as presented 1 through 17. From Section B, the second 2-year contracts for Susan Garver. Section C, the third 2-year contracts as presented 1 through 5. On number 18, approve the employment of the following classified employees on continuing contracts beginning with the 23-24 school year as presented A through D. Number 19, approve the following administrative contract extensions for Mr. Chad Young, principal at the middle school, from August 1st of 23 through July 31st of 26. Number 20, approve the placement of the following employees on the administrative or supervisor salary schedule as listed. Items 1 through, or A through K. Number 21, approve the following academic supplemental contracts for the 23-24 school year pending receipt of verifications and background checks. That would be Devin Wilkinson with the assistant marching band director, Greg Starkey, percussion, and Mackenzie Wilkerson with color guard. Number 22, approve the following athletic supplemental contracts for the 23-24 school year pending receipt of verifications and background checks as presented A through P. On number 23, approve the following athletic department volunteers for the 23-24 school year pending timely receipt of all verifications and background checks as presented A through F. And number 24, approve the list of school volunteers for the 22-23 school year pending receipt of background checks from our addendum. Number 25, Approve the following 2023 summer custodial workers to be employed on an as-needed basis as presented A through E. 26, approve the employment of Katie Klingel as middle school ELA and math teacher on an initial sequence, 1-year limited contract at step 0 with a bachelor's degree pending timely receipt of verifications and background checks, and effective with the 23-24 school year. That is one of the new positions the board has approved. Number 27, approve the employment of Maya Hookrattle as a middle school ELA teacher on an initial sequence, 1-year limited contract at step 0 with a bachelor's degree, pending timely receipt of verifications and background checks, and effective with the 23-24 school year. That would be the other middle school teaching position that was new. And 28, approve the voluntary transfer of Jessica Lombardo from kindergarten teacher to K2 reading specialist, effective with the 23-24 school year. That is also a new position the board has approved.
Great. Any questions? I'll make this motion.
Second.
Motion made by Jen Sherman, seconded by Matt Bratton. Can you roll call, please?
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
All right, 9D, contracts and agreements. Number 1 on page 9, approve the College Credit Plus MOU with Hocking College for the 23-24 school year. Number 2, approve an orientation and mobility services agreement with the Muskingum Valley Educational Service Center, effective July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024.
I'll make this motion.
Second.
Motion made by Jen Sherman, seconded by Jimmy Johnson. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
And Mr. Rod Johnson?
Nothing under 9E. 9F, personnel resignations and retirements, except the resignation of Amanda Adams, elementary school counselor, social worker, effective June 2nd, 2023. Number 2, accept the resignation of Brenda Weber, middle school cook, effective June 1, 2023. And from the addendum, number 3, accept the retirement resignation of Matthew Boving, bus driver with 12 years of service, effective August 1, 2023.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Matt Bratton,
Second.
seconded by Rod Johnson. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Sherman?
Yes. All right, number 10, new business. A, approve a treasurer's contract for Travis Bingham, effective August 1, 2023 through July 31st, 2028. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion made by Rod Johnson and second from Joe Abbott. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Sherman?
Yes. Number 11, board reports and information. A, superintendent and treasurer committee updates. Number 1, facilities management. Anything? We're still on track with press box, right?
Actually, yes, we are on track. The disconnects will happen next week. Then the demo is a week after that, and then the foundations are right at the end of May, early June. And then there has been a delay on the steel fabrication, which is not shocking. It should be in the first week of June, and it takes about 2 days to set the steel structure. And then the press box is already manufactured. They literally lift it off of a trailer, drop it on, attach it. And then, so we'll be done, should be done early July. And then we have to run all the electric, reconnect the electric, the IT, the access points, install the cameras. Sound system, we're putting in, that is in bad shape. We're putting the new sound system in out there, and then we should be good.
Good.
So, yeah, that'll
Great.
take place. And then regarding facilities, we also have the abatement project starting June 8th. Yeah, we have the elementary parking lots being resealed. We've got a couple of drains we got to fix out there. And then the front parking lots of the middle school and high school will be resealed and striped this summer too. So those are kind of the big capital things.
2, personnel labor management.
Yeah, we did just go through.
Yeah, anything? Okay.
Covered that.
That was it.
Yeah, the only thing I would add, guys, is that there's some
scuttlebutt a little bit around the third grade guarantee right now. There's some people that are opposing it right now, so I'd pay attention to it, and obviously we put a lot of time and effort into it, probably there's something coming down. I know we're all for it, but there's some groups that are.
In House Bill 33, the budget bill, it does have language to eliminate the third grade reading guarantee, which requires the retention of students that don't obtain a passing score solely based on only that factor. It is in the Senate version right now. We'll see if it continues to make it through, but I'll tell you where I'm really frustrated, and I have contacted our state representatives. I've been downtown to the Vern Rife building and met with Jeff Luray. The House version is pretty good, but the big problem is that the previous group of kids had waivers the last 2 years with that retention piece. And then this year's group is still being held accountable, even with the language in House Bill 33. The language will excuse the kids after them in third grade next year in terms of a required retention. These were the kids that were in kindergarten when schools were shut down. I'm really struggling with this, that the 2 years before there was a waiver, now we're not, the state will not issue and the federal government will not issue a waiver on that retention piece. And then next year, it looks like right now like it probably will be eliminated, that you have to retain based on that solely. So I'm keeping a close eye on it. I've communicated Friday before I went home. I sent an email to several representatives. I was on the phone with their staffers. I've been downtown and have met with people, but I just think there's a lot of things that we should look at before decisions like that are made, not one point on one test at one day, but it's kind of what we're looking at right now. So that is a big OSBA thing, and then just watching the Fair School Funding Plan. OSBA is keeping us updated on that pretty good.
Board policy, we just want to second reading on this. Yeah. Safety, health, and wellness.
There's a meeting this Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, Shauna.
3:30 here in the high school.
Sean is our school nurse is our committee chair, and we have a meeting on Wednesday at 2:30.
I should be able to make that.
Okay.
And 6, finance, you guys just met tonight. Awesome. All right, the upcoming PTO Booster Board of Education meeting. On May 9th, we have the middle school PTO at 2:30 here in the Bloom Carroll Middle School Media Center, and also the music boosters at 6:30 in the High School Media Center. On the 26th, we have graduation at 7 p.m. in the middle school gymnasium. The 29th, we have Memorial Day, so no school. June 1st is the last day for students with a 2-hour early dismissal. And on this 12th of June, we have Records Commission meeting at 5:45 in this media center. The Board of Education meeting at 6 in this media center, and the athletic boosters at 7 p.m. in that cafeteria. At this time, we will adjourn from regular session and go into executive session to discuss matters which are the subject of pending or imminent court action. Can I get a motion? Motion made by Rod Johnson, seconded by Matt Bratton. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Rod Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Sherman?
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Appreciate it. Welcome.
Well, I'll be around.